Hi guys, it's Hinda. Welcome to Cooking Fantasies. In today's video, we're going to be making this delicious cake, which is inspired from the candy bar Snickers. Our main flavors are going to be chocolate, caramel, and peanut. So if you love any of these flavors, or if you like the Snickers candy bar, you're going to love this cake. It's very easy to make and the result is amazing. Before we start, if you are new to the channel, I always leave down in the description box all the ingredients you're going to need in both the grams and the cups measurements, as well as a link to the full recipe where you could also print it. Also, if you're not subscribed, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the little bell to get notified whenever a new recipe is up, and let's get baking. As a first step, we're going to bake the chocolate cake, and for this you need the eggs to be in room temperature. We're going to mix them with the sugar together until they are at least doubled in size, they become fluffy and thick. You can use a hand mixer or a stand mixer. Once you've achieved this nice thick texture, go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients. First of all, we're going to add the oil while again mixing till it's incorporated. Then go ahead and add the milk also and keep mixing until it is also incorporated. Now it's time to add the dry ingredients. First, you want to mix the dry ingredients together. We have the all-purpose flour, baking powder, a pinch of salt, and the cocoa powder. Use unsweetened cocoa powder. The better the quality, the better the taste of your cake is going to be. I'm going to mix all the ingredients together and sift them directly into my cake batter on 2 goes. I'm going to be adding the half, fold this in gently, then go ahead and add the other half and gently fold it in, as you want to keep all the air you have incorporated while beating the eggs with the sugar. The way to do this is use a spatula and gently fold from the bottom upwards. The dry ingredients tend to stay at the bottom of the bowl or on the side, so just make sure to get everything. My batter is ready once everything is nicely combined and I have one homogenic batter. Then I'm going to add it to my baking tin. For the baking tin, I've buttered it. You can also brush it with some oil before adding the parchment paper to make sure it sticks nicely. Then go ahead and pour the butter. The oven should be preheated to 180 degrees Celsius. It is 356 degrees Fahrenheit, and it takes between 35 to 40 minutes to bake. Once my cake is baked, I'm going to allow it to cool totally before unmolding it and then gently peel off the parchment paper. I'm going to slice my cake into 3 thin layers, and you want to do this when the cake is totally cold, then it's much easier. You can even place it in the refrigerator or in the freezer for some time before slicing it. This will make it much easier and you will have the least crumbs. For time management, I would suggest you to prepare the rest of the ingredients or the components of the cake while the cake is cooling down, and to only slice it right before you start assembling the cake. And now let's make our delicious caramel for the filling. For this, we're going to prepare first the caramel by cooking the sugar on a medium heat. When I add my sugar to my cooking pot, I'm going to spread it, make sure it's evenly spread on the bottom of my cooking pot. As the sides tend to cook or burn faster, I use a silicone spoon. You can use also a wooden spoon to keep stirring just to make sure it doesn't burn. You don't want to have a burnt caramel, otherwise you will have a bitter taste. I have the heat on very low and just stir without getting it into the sides until it's nicely and evenly melted. It looks darker here because of the lighting, but it's a much lighter color. Once you have a smooth caramel without any sugar grains, go ahead and add the cream, and be careful because it releases a lot of steam, so it could burn. Just add it on one go and keep stirring. To make it easier, you can heat the cream beforehand in a microwave or on a stove before adding it to the sugar. If you add it cold, the caramel may, or the sugar may crystallize again, as you see here in the video. Don't worry, just keep stirring and it's going to melt again with the cream. The key is to keep everything on a medium to low heat. Then go ahead and add the butter. It's easier for you if you cut it into small cubes before you add it to the caramel. And again, we're going to keep stirring until all the butter is melted and you have a nice smooth caramel. Then again, allow everything to simmer for about 30 seconds. And the caramel is ready. Remove it from the heat and allow it to cool. Since we're going to be adding peanuts to the filling or to the cake, I'm going to roast them in an oven, or after baking the cake when the oven is still hot, just place them in there for 4 to 5 minutes and then go ahead and chop them. You can also do this on a pan if the oven is not hot already. If you prefer to, you can use a food processor and you want to pulse it for just a couple of seconds at the time because you want to still keep the pieces of the peanuts big. Or otherwise you can use the knife just like I did. And now it's time to prepare the delicious cream for layering the cake. Most importantly, the cream should be very cold right out of the fridge, or even place it for 5 minutes in the freezer. In this cream, I use a combination of mascarpone cheese and cream cheese. I find this to be the perfect cream for this cake in terms of flavor and texture. If you want, you can use either only cream cheese or only mascarpone, but the result is not going to be the same. If you want to use only one cheese, then I would recommend to go with only mascarpone. To my cheeses, I added the vanilla extract, the powdered sugar, then mix everything together just enough till all the sugar is incorporated. You don't want to overmix it at this point. Once everything is nicely incorporated, go ahead and add your heavy cream. That should be right out of the fridge. Again, I'm going to add it to this mixture and keep mixing until everything is nice and creamy. That is the texture you should be looking for. It's very light and creamy, still it holds shape. And now it's time to start assembling the cake. I'm gonna be adding the upper layer for my cake as the bottom, because this way I will not have much crumbs. So I will place it on a circle that's also 20 centimeters. This will help have a nice cake that is even from all sides. Then go ahead and add about the half of your cream. If you want, you can keep some of this cream to decorate the cake, so you don't make another cream for decorations as I did. So I added about the half of my cream on the cake, spread it. Just make sure that it goes everywhere so you don't end up with empty air bubbles. And then go ahead and add the caramel. For the caramel, I go randomly, but if you want to be precise again, go ahead and measure 2 equal parts before adding 1 part to each layer. Then I'm going to add some of the peanuts, about 3 tablespoons for each layer. This is optional. If you like peanuts, you can add more or a little bit less if you're not a big fan. Next is the middle layer of the cake, and I'm also going to be using exactly the middle layer I sliced out of my cake. And then we're going to repeat all the steps we just did before in the same order. First the cream, the caramel, and the peanuts. And finally, I'm going to be adding the last layer of my cake, which is actually the bottom layer of it. So it is as if I mounted the cake upside down. This helps have a nice even layer, leveled cake, and nice sharp edges for my cake. And again, using your hands, try to slightly press it, make sure it's even, there are no air bubbles, that it's all one level. Then place it in the refrigerator to sit for at least 1 hour. And meanwhile, let's prepare the ganache to cover the cake. In this ganache, in today's recipe, we're going to be making it with heavy cream that I'm going first to heat. You can do this in a microwave or on a stove. Then pour it onto chopped chocolate and allow it to sit for about 30 seconds to 1 minute. Then go ahead and start stirring until all the chocolate is melted. If it's not the case and you still have pieces of chocolate in your ganache, then microwave it for 13 seconds intervals while stirring in between until you have a smooth ganache with a totally melted chocolate. Second option, you can use my Ferrero Rocher glaze recipe, in which I use chocolate, vegetable oil and almonds, and instead of almonds you can add peanuts and you will have the same result. Then go ahead and add the chopped peanuts to the ganache and mix everything together till it's well combined. And for the second option, for the other Ferrero Rocher recipe, I'm going to be leaving the link down in the description box. 1 hour has passed, it's time to glaze my cake. Before adding the ganache, I like to go around the cake with a spatula to even the cream out and feel if there are any empty spaces. Then go ahead and add your ganache to the cream. You want to do this in the next 10 to 15 minutes after preparing your ganache. You don't want to wait too long so that it doesn't set too much and it will be harder to work with. If you wait about 10 minutes to 15, it's just perfect. You also don't want to do this while it's too hot. Make sure to spread it so you don't have a very thick layer of chocolate or ganache on the top. Make sure to get all the sides. A spatula helps. Go ahead and simply wipe off the excess of the ganache. For decorating, I'm going to be making peanut butter chantilly or peanut butter whipped cream. This is optional. As I said, you could have saved some of the cream from the filling and simply pipe it at the top, or even stop at this point. And this is very easy. I only need my cream to be very cold right out of the freezer, where I placed it for 10 minutes. Then I'm going to beat it with the icing sugar and my peanut butter. If you have saved some of the filling cream for decoration, you can add to it some peanut butter and give it a quick mix again just to incorporate it in. I'm going to be adding my peanut butter chantilly to a piping bag and pipe it on my cake. This is just optional. This is a suggestion. You can even serve the cake with only the ganache. It's very enough, or you can decorate it with however you like. I also drizzled the cake with more caramel. I also added some crushed peanuts and some biscuits because we're inspired from Snickers, which is a candy bar, so I thought why not. But again, this is optional. I would also suggest you to allow the cake to sit for half an hour to 45 minutes in the refrigerator just for the ganache to nicely set on the cake. Then you can already cut it in and enjoy. I hope you liked today's recipe and I hope you will be trying it out, and I can promise you it tastes amazing. It has the perfect texture, the caramel with the cream, and the cake is just perfection in terms of flavor and how beautiful the layers look. If you do try out the recipe, please share with us how it turned out in the comment section or on Instagram. I will be more than happy to see your pictures. If you still have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me down in the comment section or on Instagram, and I will be more than happy to help. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and see you soon with a new delicious recipe, and happy baking!